I am building a new clock, a Las Vegas clock. Now, there's two important measurements I have to take in order for this clock to be built. One is a measurement of the minute hand, and the second one is the measurement of the overall shaft length. So let's take a look. Let me use this ruler. All right. I got to figure out the length I'll need for my minute hand. Because if my minute hand's under 5 inches, I can use a standard American-made mini quartz motor. If it's over 5 inches, I'll use a high torque. So I'm going to measure from the center, the mounting hole, and I'm going to want my minute hand probably to come right somewhere on the dice, maybe into the second dice. So that looks to be about almost 3 3/4 inches. So if I get a 3 3/4 inch hand, that's going to come right into the center of the dice. Now, since it's coming into the center of the dice, the length must come through the material here, which is about 1/8 of an inch, and also clear the dice. So let me turn this around, see if you can see this. So what I measure is up to the top, and so I have the clearance there. Now I'm probably going to have to get one of the movements. I'm going to probably use an MVT 7290A because it has an overall height of 1 1/4 inches, which will give me plenty of clearance over here. Now, most of the time you're measuring on the shaft, you measure the threaded part and the overall length. Because the threaded part, you have to have enough thread to go through here to put down the hex nut, to secure it to the clock face material. But that's really not important. The overall length for this clock is important. With every movement, you get the hardware that you need to mount the clock. You get a rubber washer, get a brass washer, get a hex nut, then you get a minute hand nut and a cap nut. So we want that to come about halfway there, so let's look at our hands. When you measure clock hand, you're not concerned about the hour hand. It's irrelevant. What you're concerned about is the length of the minute hand, and you measure from the mounting hole to the tip. So that's a little over, just a hair over 3/4. That's going to be perfect for this clock. So I have my hand measurement, and I got my the movement that I need. So let's put this together. This is a double A clock motor, American made here in America, made in California. First I put the rubber washer on. I'm going to slide that through. Alright, and you can see I got plenty of clearance for the hands. Then I take the brass washer, put it on. Then I got the hex nut. Just drop that down. Because I had to get such a long shaft, it'll take me a little while to screw this down. When you're screwing this down, just make it hand tight. And the reason being, if you over tighten it, you could slow down the movement. So I just recommend just make it hand tight, and then you're in good shape. Now we have the movement there. Oh, wait, let me just turn that a little more. There we go. Now, let's look at the clock hands. First, the hand that goes on is the hour hand, and that's a press on. So we just get that like that. We just press it on. Okay? Now, that's perfect. Now, we have the American-made eye shaft, which is a very secure way to secure your minute hand. Now, you'll have in your hardware 2 nuts. You have a minute hand nut and you have a cap nut. You only use the minute hand nut if you have a second hand. If you don't have a second hand, the finishing look is with this cap nut. And I don't have a minute hand. A second hand. I don't want a second hand on here. So I'm just going to screw on my second hand. Okay? It's pretty good. Move those to the 12 o'clock. See, nice clearance there. All right. Okay, I just want to make sure my hands are parallel. All right, there they are, parallel.